Hello my friends, Paul here in the RoJoBe Music Workshop, and welcome to part 2 of the classical guitar to acoustic guitar conversion project. Okay, so in the first episode of this series, after the introduction, you saw me removing the bridge from the guitar and the fretboard. They both came off fairly easily and cleanly. I did find an issue with the fretboard in that it's plywood painted black, which is never ideal. But I have had removed the fretboard, and you may remember there was all strips of wood on the back of it, which I've now cleaned off. You can see it's plywood because of the colour and the texture, and also, we've got a nasty piece sort of put in there. I'm not quite sure why they would have done that, but I mean this line goes right the way across, and then we've got this triangle bit as well. So it is plywood. Now I haven't, as you can see, I haven't as yet put a strip of wood over this. I'm going to leave that for now. It's cleaned up, it's nice and clean, and obviously because we stripped a layer off, the edges of it's not even bound. It's just kind of, it looks like it's varnished over the edge of it, and there's a lip both sides. So, and it is quite thin now, and it's sort of flexing. So I probably will put a layer of wood on there. I'm not sure yet, but I'm going to leave it for now. It's absolutely fine. And I did also manage to remove the neck from the guitar, and as I suspected, it was held in with dowels. So there's two dowels, one here, one here, one here, and one here. Never ideal. I mean, it is okay for classical guitars, cheap ones, but that would never be strong enough for an acoustic guitar. And obviously, I said I wanted to keep this neck as a spare if I ever do any repairs on a classical guitar. So I think I am going to, glue another block of wood on the end of here and put a dovetail joint on there, which is the same as I'm going to be doing for this acoustic neck. So I'm going to do this one first, just to, more as a practice really, to see if I can get it to go well before I do the neck for this guitar. So I've also cleaned up the surface of the neck. It's cleaned up nicely. It's not smooth. There's no point doing that, because when you come to glue a fretboard on, you want a bit of a rough finish for the glue to actually bind to. So that's more than good enough as it is at the moment. But like that acoustic neck, I don't know if you can see, but it's not level across that way. So it's not far off, but it's not as bad as the acoustic neck. But it's higher this side. I don't know how well you can see that. So that'll need to be leveled a little bit first. I'm not going to worry about the angle on here, because as I said, I'm going to be putting a block of wood on here to cut a dovetail joint into it. And I have taken the tuners out because I was thinking about sanding this whole neck down, because it's going to have a block of wood put on there, which is obviously going to be bare wood. I'm kind of reluctant to do it because it's not a bad finish on here. It's quite nice actually. But because I'm adding a block of wood on there, I'll really struggle to get the colour to match, and so that you can't see the seam. So I probably will sand this down, but I'm going to leave it for now because I'll have a little think about that. I'd rather not, because the finish on this is all right. However, I've just noticed there's a couple of chips in it, which again, would be difficult to match in. There's a little chip there, and you probably won't see it, but there's a little one just there as well. So I might rub this down, sand it down. I don't know yet. you know, I mean, the chances of it matching any guitar that I add it to are quite slim as well. So I'll leave it for now. I am going to put the heel on here and cut the dovetail joint, but as far as sanding off the finish, I'm going to leave that for now. I'll decide later. I mean, having a close look at it, there are a few blemishes in the finish. Yeah, there's a few, so it probably will get sanded. So as for the guitar itself, it's, you know, obviously the neck is out of it. You can see where the dowels are, one here, one here, one here, and there was one here as well. But you know, because we had a little bit of chip out here, I've put some filler in there, which I'm, you know, obviously I'm going to sand all of this right the way down as well. And we had the same here where the fretboard came off. There was a few little chips. So I've used wood filler, proper wood filler in here, but I've used the acrylic filler in here and where the bridge was as well. I've filled in the holes where the screw holes were. I've put some dowels in there and filled those in. With hindsight, I probably should have filled this little hole in as well, where the pickup wire goes through, because it's probably going to end up in a different position, but that's neither here nor there at the moment. Now, the finish on this guitar is okay, but this binding is not binding. It's just painted on, and it looks horrific. I mean, especially where you get to the corners, you probably can't see it too well now, but it just looks horrible. So I'm going to be rubbing this, or sanding this down and refinishing it. What I'm hoping for is that when I sand through all of this, and incidentally, this is the filler I'm going to be using on the bass guitar when I come to do that. So this will be a good test to see how well it works. And it does look as though it's going to be pretty good. So, you know, I have two options with finishing this. What I would like to do is sand it right back to bare wood and refinish it with shellac, because for two reasons, over painting it. Two reasons: one, it's a lot quicker and easier, and two, it would look a lot nicer. But I'm not going to know what the wood of this guitar is like until I sand it down. If it looks as though, you know, there's going to be marks everywhere and, you know, gouges and everything, which I can fix, but if it's, you know, beyond reasonable bothering with, then I won't sand it right down to bare wood. I will sand it flat, i.e., you know, not shiny, and repaint it. I don't really want to paint it. Number of reasons. First of all, as I said, it takes longer and it's a bit more difficult to do than shellac finish. And also, what colour would I paint it? Because I was originally thinking like dark green or something like that, but that's not everyone's cup of tea. Not everybody likes, you know, a coloured guitar. So, you know, I do want to refinish it with shellac. And if I sand this and it looks as though this part and where the bridge was is going to be okay, then that's what I will do. But I won't know until I've sanded this down. Regular viewers of mine will know that I can hate sanding. Absolutely hate it. But it's got to be done, and you know, the end result is always quite satisfying. But this, I'm not leaving it like that. This looks bloody horrible, and you can see I've taken the electrics out of it as well. You know, because I don't want any of that getting damaged. So I've got those out of the way in my tin, along with a few other bits and pieces. See the tuners in there. So that's going to be the next stage for this. I'm not going to record sanding this. It's noisy, messy, time consuming and bloody boring. Who wants to watch me sanding for hours and hours and hours on this? So I'm going to be sanding that down, and the neck that I'm going to be using as well. I've kind of started it. There was a logo on the top here. I just wanted to get rid of that. It wasn't anything special, but I'm going to be. I quite like the colour of this. It looks black, but it's kind of a reddish tinge to it. You can't see it on camera, but you know, there's chips and marks and gouges all over it. It's, you know, and the back of the headstock looks blooming awful. So that's going to be sanded right back to bare wood as well. And you know, however I finish the guitar will be the same as I do the neck, whether it's painting or shellac, so it'll all match in. And like I said, I've got to put a block on here and cut the dovetail joint as well. I'll probably sand this before I put the block on there, because I've also got to, you know, straighten the end of that. I mean, this side is high, so I've got to try and level that up. I won't need that in there while I'm doing all that, so that can be put to one side. But yeah, so I've got to do the block on there with the dovetail joint. I've got to sand it all down, which I will do first. There's no point, you know, putting the block on first and then sanding it. I might as well do that first. And I think, you know, the wood itself of this neck is fine. There's not going to be any problems with it. I don't think there's any cracks or anything like that. But if there is, once I've sanded all this off, I'll be able to see it and fix it if necessary. But I know there's nothing wrong with this neck. And I quite like the shape of the headstock on this. It's just a little bit unusual. It's, you know, I don't know if it's based on any particular high-end guitar. I'm not sure. But I like the shape of this. I think it will look nice on here. So, my next task is hours and hours of tedious, mind-numbingly boring sanding. I hate sanding with a passion. It's got to be done so that I can see where I'm at and see where I go next, and so that it'll be a lot easier to get the thing to, you know, match and look nice. So once I've done that, I will make another video and see where we are with this, you know, whether or not I am going to be able to put, you know, finish it with shellac, or if I have to paint it. Not going to know until I sand everything off. I mean, I've got to sand all this and this, well, all of it, but you know, just to see what's lying underneath here. I'm hoping it'll be doable. But I won't know until I sand it. So that's my next task. Hours of shitty sanding. Like I said, for this neck, I'm going to leave that for now. I'm not going to sand it just yet, but I will be putting the block on here and cutting the dovetail joint before I do the other neck. So I know, you know, if I make any mistakes, where I've gone wrong and what to do differently. Right, so like I said, I'm not going to film any of that sanding. Who wants to see that? But once it's done and I know where I'm at, then, you know, we'll be on to part 3 and see where we go next. So yeah, unfortunately there's not a lot to see in this video. It's just kind of an update of where I am and where I'm going next, really. Is there anything else? I mean, the fretboard that goes with this acoustic neck, the back of it, it looks shabby, but it is flat and smooth. Well, not smooth. Again, you know, you want a rough surface for the glue to adhere to. I might sand it a bit more because I'm not sure what that is. It might be filler or something like that. So I will sand the back of this a bit more. Hey, more sanding, lovely. So yeah. That's where I am right now, and in part 3 we'll see where we're going next. Okay, so hope you're enjoying this new project. At the moment I was, but now I've got some boring sanding to do. So we'll see what happens next. In the meantime, look after yourselves, look after each other. We will see you soon. Peace out.